Kindred Longevity Lifestyle Designers. This is Gavin here with secretsoflongevity.com. I got a question very recently in regards to a practice someone engaged in. It was actually an inversion table, and they ran into a problem where they've had, they believe they've progressed too quickly too soon, or to too much of an extreme in terms of length of time too soon, up to 10 minutes I believe that they were inverted. I don't know if this is a complete inversion or a partial inversion. However, it's resulted in a partial blockage in the right ear, and there's a constant ringing, as it sounds like. And they were talking about the fact that I've recommended inversion, or that I'm an advocate of it. And while I definitely have probably at some point talked about the benefits of things that will invert you, like yoga poses, I've never recommended using an introversion table, but I don't think I've ever actually advocated against it. There's a very sort of pervasive idea around introversion and its myriad of benefits, which a lot of people whom I either associate with or tend to agree with also advocate, so I can see why some people might jump to that conclusion. However, I have heard about things like this happening, and so if anyone had asked me, or if I had thought to make a video about it before, I would have advocated against it. There's notable benefits to it, which I'm sure you've all heard. The ideas of, flipping gravity upside down and letting what's normally the bottom of your body that's weighted towards the ground be the other way around. You can allow all sorts of things to sort of unravel and undo themselves in a way, if you can think of it that way. It really calms down the adrenals and stress hormone production. It's really good for any kind of sort of like calcification in the body, because it starts to, if you can think of like just like sand building up in the lower parts of your body, it's like turning an hourglass over. All that stuff can disperse back into the fluid, and your body actually starts getting that stuff out. And for that reason, yes, I definitely recommend regular inversions, but mostly in the form of asanas in yoga, because when you do those, you have control over your body. You can't progress too fast too quickly, because you can only do an inversion for as long as it's comfortable for your muscles. And as you build up your body to be able to hold inversions for longer, that staggers how quickly you can progress. So no one's going to be able to do a handstand against the wall for 10 minutes their first try. Yet when you have an inversion table, it's very tempting to just lock yourself upside down within working up to 10 minutes in a week, or maybe even under a month is not what you would be able to get if you're doing against the wall, like a handstand, or you were doing, it's kind of like a neck stand yoga pose where you go up. I'm not going to do it, but the neck or shoulder stand where your legs go up in the air, but your head's kind of like pressed up against your chest like that. That's a little easier than a handstand. There's all sorts of inversions, like even a downward dog. If you haven't built up to it, and that's a very mild inversion, you can't hold it for very long. And it's this building up to it which is really important for that period of your body to get used to it, because there's very delicate areas of the body in the head that you want to protect. Not only have I heard of people damaging the eardrums and things from that, and by the way, for this individual who has this blockage or whatever is going on, I can't obviously say what it is from your description of it. However, I would say get to an ear specialist, get that looked at. Depending on what it is exactly, I'd hesitate around medication, of course, for the ear. It can be often worse than just letting it fix itself naturally, but if there is something physically broken, it could require surgery, and that's really important to get looked at right away. Because the ear is so complex and small and fragile, you don't want to expose it to the possibility of damage in that way, which you may have done. In this case, with inversions, yes, I guess it's going to be hard to really rupture something. It's probably more like there's been some sort of fluid that's moved around and is, because of just the natural stuff in the ears that we build up in our ears, it's somehow gotten stuck in there, perhaps. We can hope that. Hopefully you don't have a severe injury. What I have heard, which is more severe, which is related to all this blood rushing to the head, is literally the lenses or the retina detaching in your eye. That apparently has happened fairly commonly with inversion tables. I have no idea why people who advocate these things don't know about this or talk about it. I guess if you're really cautious about how well and how quickly you progress with it, that's going to be something that you can avoid, but I always recommend just doing it the natural way with your body weight, doing body weight exercises. Like I said, handstands are great, but you'll find very quickly you can only hold them for a very short period of time before you get comfortable and have to let yourself fall down. But if you're strapped into a table, like I said, it's tempting to just relax into it and sort of like push it out into that uncomfortable feeling, which is actually a sign that your body's got very minute, fragile things happening that could be damaging. I don't want to spread fear around this because there's definitely some benefits to inverting. And if you've got a pre-existing condition, yes, perhaps any level of inversion might just exacerbate that. In which case, if you've had a detached retina or any of these things, I just recommend not doing it at all. There's definite benefits to really minute inversions, like when you're sleeping, you elevate your legs a little bit with a pillow, or even having your whole mattress slightly like that so your head's at the lower end. And once again, this shuts off the adrenals in a deeper way than when you're flat or even your upper body's higher up. Because as soon as you start becoming more erect, there's more adrenaline and cortisol released to help keep you that way and to get your body working in that way. Whereas as soon as you start going the other way, it starts right off, so it's very good. I think it's unnatural to take it to extremes where, you know, you've got yourself sleeping in positions that are like, you know, your legs up against the wall. I've heard some people say, no one slept in the wild like that. Animals don't do that. But then there is that one interesting tidbit which some people point to, which is the bat. And then, by the way, in China, the bat is a symbol of longevity. It's usually depicted in groups of 2 or 5. And sometimes in paintings in the back, you might see like a few bats, and that's usually showing longevity if you're interested in that. But bats, compared to a rat of the same size, bats have 20 times longer lifespans in terms of equivalent size. There's not a huge anatomical difference between a rat and a bat of the same size, but bats sleep hanging upside down. So just take that into consideration. I'm not saying sleep upside down, but that ties in that sort of Eastern philosophy around inversions, observing nature, seeing what animals thrive and what practices the animals do in their environment, and then incorporating that into an exercise program, which is what yoga and martial arts came out of. It was mimicking animals largely in their environment. So all in all, you can kind of see I'm in the middle. I'm not a huge advocate to the point of saying use inversion tables to whatever degree you like, but I'm also saying, you know, there's a place for inversions. I think it's best to let your body build up to the ability to do them as your muscles develop to be able to hold inversions in more naturalistic poses. So let me know what you think, if you've ever had good experiences with inversion, whether in an asana or with an inversion table. Again, I'm not close to the idea of them. That I've just heard a lot of problems coming from them, which you don't hear in some other basic health concepts or practices. This one does seem to have some serious risks of damage that can come from it. So I wish the best for this individual that has the blocked ear canal, whatever it might be. Definitely check with a ear, nose, and throat specialist, and let me know how that goes actually in a private message. I really hope you can get that solved and figured out. And as always, also leave comments below if you want to ask a question that you want me to answer in a future video. I'm obviously picky about what questions I'm going to do, but I want to start doing those more regularly again, these Q&A videos. So with that, take care and embrace life without limits.